Hello, and welcome back to Quinn Loves Entertainment. This past weekend, a little indie movie known as The Odyssey was released, and it's directed by one of my favorite underground directors, Christopher Nolan. You see, if you heard of this man, you might recognize him as the godfather of IMAX, or the director who doesn't know how to mix sound properly. Or even Mr. I don't know how to write women in my movies.
Natalie.
You don't remember me.
I thought that I would do him a favor and try to expand his audience by sharing with you my ranking of all of his films. Let's piss off the film bros, shall we?
The following is my explanation.
Following, or as I like to call it, people watching gone wild. For a directorial debut, this movie really isn't that bad. But when you compare it to Nolan's filmography, it truly just doesn't compete. Well, we'll get to that. I actually think the writing in this movie is very well done. I mean, the line,
Take it away. Show them what they had.
that's bars. And the premise of this movie is also very cool. A writer who is so intrigued by people that he follows them around in hopes of improving his characters, that's awesome. And the character dynamic between Cobb and young man. Christopher Nolan always knows how to name his characters in his movies. That dynamic is done very well. However, that's all you can really write about with this movie. I thought the performances were pretty lackluster, and to be fair, it is his friends that are acting in this movie, so you kind of get what you paid for. And I also thought that the timeline of this movie was all over the place. I understand that that's kind of Nolan's thing, but I don't think it worked well in this movie at all. Apparently, in the Criterion Collection, the DVD has the movie in chronological order. Why Nolan wouldn't have that in his final cut, I may never know. But the Batman cameo was really cool. All that being said, I give this movie a C-.
I guess I've already told you about my condition.
Oh, well, only every time I see you.
Memento. That's Latin for remember. Second movie in, and Christopher Nolan is already in his bag. Seems like all he needed was a good budget and people who could actually put on a good performance. There's a lot to love about this movie. I mean, first of all, its creative and unique approach to storytelling. You know when Christopher Nolan is explaining his movie and it looks like a math problem? You're in for a treat. But on top of his mesmerizing writing, you have a classic confusing Nolan plot that actually works in this movie. And you have a shirtless Guy Pearce. Come on, this movie checks a lot of boxes. I especially like the David Lynch-like narration that our boy Letty has throughout this movie. It truly puts you in the shoes of Leonard, and the editing in this movie also does a great job at mimicking his condition. I didn't really care for Natalie's character as much as the movie tried to make me, but as we kind of said before, Nolan has issues with this. I truly believe that this sets the bar for what we should expect with Christopher Nolan's movies. And for that, I give it an A-. Wait, did I talk about Sammy?
Guy, he crossed the line, and he didn't even blink.
Insomnia. Well, that's definitely true. I wasn't falling asleep through this movie, but I wouldn't say it's because of how gripping it was. You know how I just said that maybe all Christopher Nolan needs is a good budget and a great performance to put on a good movie? I was incorrect. I mean, don't get me wrong. Al Pacino is great, and Robin Williams puts on a very chilling performance. See what I did there? Because the movie takes place in Alaska? All right. I also thought that the cinematography in this movie does a great job of immersing you in the Night Mule. But that's kind of all you can really say about this. The rest of it is just fine. I thought the ending was very anticlimactic, and the fact that this is just a remake of another film truly puts it lower on my list. So for that, I give it a C.
I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Batman Begins. The beginning of Batman not looking like a little bitch. Well, that's not entirely true, because Burton's Batman was pretty dark, but that's for another video. You know, I have to give this movie credit because this movie truly set the standard for what superhero movies should be like, especially origin movies. It doesn't waste time going through his parents' backstory or his childhood. This movie gives you what you want, which is action.
And I am the devil.
You're not the devil. You're practice.
However, it's definitely the worst of the trilogy. And the reason why I say that is because I feel what makes Nolan's Batman movies so special are his villains. And as much as I love Cillian Murphy, Scarecrow really isn't that interested in this. I know. That's probably a hot take, sue me. But it's kind of fair, too, because this movie is more about Batman than any of his other ones, funny enough. It's a character study on the duality of man, so it makes sense why the villain isn't the central focus of this. But you also have some banger lines from Christopher Nolan in this one. For instance,
I failed. Why do we false? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
that line was so fire, Michael Caine had a tweet about it. Batman Begin. This movie truly is a good time, and for what it did for the superhero genre, I have to give it a B-. Oh, and if you're looking for a fun time, watch this movie in Spanish. I promise you'll enjoy it.
Are you watching closely?
The Prestige. Oh, boys and their tricks. You know, throughout this movie, it warns you to watch closely. And you're sitting there like, okay, I get it. And then you finally reach the end of this movie, and it's almost like you might as well have been daydreaming the entire time you were watching it. This movie, I will admit, is a little bit of a slow burn. But when it finally reaches that second and third act, oh my gosh, you're locked in. And Batman and Wolverine, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman do a phenomenal job in this movie. And you get surprise performances from David Bowie? David Bowie? What the f***? Why is David Bowie in this movie? Crowd Control to Major Tesla, what are you doing here? That was genuinely shocking to see. I'm not even trying to be funny there. That was actually shocking to see. The pissing contest that Hugh and Chris have in this movie is madly entertaining. It's like if Tupac and Biggie became magicians. I mean, they're willing to sacrifice anything to prove that they were right. Look, if you like magic, you're really going to love this movie. If you don't like magic, you're still probably going to enjoy this movie. For that, I give this movie a B+. Solid work.
What do you believe in, huh? What do you believe in?
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
The Dark Knight.
And here we go.
I imagine a vast majority of you have seen this movie, but if you haven't, what is wrong with you? No, seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? I mean, even if you don't like superhero movies, you will come out of this thing wanting more. From the bank robbery scene to Batman running from the cops, it's cinema. And Heath Ledger's Joker. Oh my God, talk about an incredible adaptation of a villain. I mean, every time he's on screen, you cannot take your eyes off him. He's off-putting, he's funny, and he's stripped all the way out.
Oh, and by the way, the suit, it wasn't cheap. You ought to know, you bought it.
You can tell that he truly cared about this role. So much so that he even got to direct his own scenes. Every single scene where the Joker's on the news, that was all done by Heath. And Nolan never does anything like that. He truly was terrifying, and he deserves all the praise. And may he rest in peace. The Dark Knight is truly a fascinating story exploring how chaos can make a city go mad and how it brings the worst out of the best people. I can truly say that there are two definitions to the word insane. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and not liking The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight gets an A+.
I know how to search your mind and find your secrets. I know the tricks.
Inception. You know, why would you ever want to watch a movie for the first time and fully understand what's happening? That's just nonsense. There are many moments in this movie where you as an audience member are going to ask many questions. Questions like, what on earth is happening? Why is this happening? How is this happening? However, while you still may ask these questions or may not even fully understand what the hell is going on, this movie is still very entertaining. The action in this movie, I think, is the best out of any Nolan film. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they have so much creative liberty. I mean, the whole idea of the movie is that they're tapping into people's dreams. They can do whatever the heck they want. The scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt fighting everyone in the hallway is absolutely killer. And the fact that that was all practical, beautiful. Everyone in this movie brings their A game. There's not a single bad performance, and that's pretty incredible with an ensemble this size. It's a great movie that will really make you think, and also view spinning tops differently. For that, this movie gets an A-.
Have we started the fire?
Yes. The fire rises.
The Dark Knight Rises. Talk about some big shoes to fill. This movie truthfully gets a lot of hate, and I think that there's a lot to enjoy here. First of all, Tom Hardy is easily the best part about this movie. Sure, he may not be a trend-loving luchador like he is in the comics, but it's supposed to be realistic, so shut up. He's truly a powerful force, and I absolutely fear his presence. And he has so many memorable lines in this thing, it's hard not to like what he does.
Leave us.
No, you stay here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
The action in this movie, I think, is the best out of the entire trilogy. That might be a hot take, but when you look at the sewer fight between Batman and Bane, you can't tell me I'm wrong. And the fight scene on the rooftop with Catwoman and Batman, that displays their character dynamics so well. Oh my gosh, and let's not forget Bane blowing up an entire football field to prove a point.
Let the games begin.
The problem with this movie about Batman returning is that Batman is barely in this movie. Batman, when he's in costume, is in this movie for literally 30 minutes, and it is 164 minutes long. What are we doing? I understand that you have a lot of characters in this movie that you're trying to balance, but this is a Batman movie. You can't have the guy be on the sidelines. I understand that he doesn't want the spotlight right now, but Batman showing up an hour into this movie is absolutely ridiculous. I still think that there are a lot of great moments in this movie, don't get me wrong. But a Batman movie with him barely in it, I'm going to have to give it a B. For Bruce.
Well, we used to look up in the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt.
Interstellar. Grab your tissue boxes for this one, guys. What is there not to like about this movie? I mean, you got an amazing performance from Matthew McConaughey. A score by Hans Zimmer that makes me feel like I'm floating into the heavens. Another movie where Matt Damon is trying to come home. And a script that can make Helen Keller cry. I mean, even she would be able to feel out the emotional toll of Matthew McConaughey leaving his family and driving away. Plus, this is a sci-fi movie about space travel that is highly scientifically accurate. Yes, that is actually true, because Christopher Nolan worked with Nobel Prize-winning physicist Kip Thorne to ensure that the physics in this movie were accurate. Well, mostly accurate. It is still a movie. The only issue that I have with this movie is that it's a little too long. Typically, that wouldn't be an issue for me, but your movie has to be engaging the entire time. And the problem with this is that there's so much exposition. Also, there should have been more Timmy. I'm with you on that. We should have got more Timmy and less Casey Affleck. All in all, this movie is absolutely incredible, and there's a reason why this is among the favorites of many. But for me, this movie gets an A.
Better than me. It's not fair. Survival's not fair. Oh, shit.
Dunkirk. Certainly a war adaptation. And then 1917 came out and blew it out of the water. Or into the water. Look, this movie looks great. I mean, the scene of Tom Hardy standing in front of the burning building, or the plane crashing down into the sea, or even the Navy destroyer getting, well, destroyed. All of it looks fantastic and should be viewed on the biggest screen possible. Also, Harry Styles is in this movie, and he's actually great. I feel like Christopher Nolan really has a thing for having pop stars in his movies. But while the movie looks fantastic, everything else about this movie is pretty mediocre. The soldiers in this movie are so plain. There's a major lack of character development throughout this thing, and it very much shows. Also, moments get heavily repeated throughout this movie, and as a moviegoer, that takes me out of it, because I feel like I already know what's happening. I understand that that's important to the story, and that there's different perspectives that happen within that situation, but it always loses me. So unfortunately, as a moviegoer, I value a nice story, and while the story looks nice, there's not much there, in my opinion. So I have to give this a C+.
All I have for you is a gesture in combination with a word. Tenet.
You know, Christopher Nolan should have been just as creative as he was with naming the main character and called this movie. Mr. Nolan fought tooth and nail to give this a theatrical release in the midst of a global pandemic. And in an attempt to save the theatrical experience, Mr. Nolan gave us a confusing pile of dog shit. Let's start with the protagonist. The protagonist. Yep, that's really his name. The protagonist. This guy, played by John David Washington, who I think does a good job, but half the movie talks like this, so I couldn't really tell you. This guy is an agent of some sorts, I believe. Works with the FBI or the government in some way. I don't know. I'm honestly lost throughout this whole thing, and I'm sure a lot of you were too. But maybe you weren't, and if you could explain what happened to this movie, please enlighten me. I mean, even the action scenes in this thing are just as confusing. Like, can you explain to me how this building was able to blow up in reverse, and then once it comes back, it blows up again? Excuse me? Or I don't even know what timeline we're in. Like, are we going forwards in time? Are we going back in time? Like, it seems to just, like, happen, and then it ends with a Travis Scott song. Okay. This movie is dog shit. So for that, I give it a D+.
And now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Oppenheimer. This guy dropped a bomb with this one. If you would have told me before 2023 that my favorite Christopher Nolan movie would be a 3-hour biopic about J. Robert Oppenheimer, I probably would have smacked you. And then after 2023, I probably would have came back to you and begged for forgiveness, because this movie is absolutely spectacular. I have never been more tense for the first half of this movie than I have in pretty much any movie. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, these are based on historical events. It's not like anything shocking here. But the way this movie is edited and the score that Ludwig created, oh my God, it's just absolutely amazing. I have no other words other than you need to experience this if you haven't. And if you have experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And finally, we have a movie where Christopher Nolan has great woman characters. Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh are phenomenal in this movie. Arguably, there are many scenes where Emily Blunt just outshines everyone in the room.
Spread all over the world, and I've believed this since I left the party 16 years ago.
But
17 years ago. My mistake.
But you said...
Sorry, 18. 18 years ago.
Just the idea of making a movie about the nuclear bomb and how the creator of it is devastated by his own actions is incredible. I truly could go on and on about this movie, but in hopes of not boring you, I'm going to end it right here and say this is an S tier movie. We made it. I hope that I put you on to Christopher Nolan, and hope that enough people will see this, he'll eventually be able to make a blockbuster one day. If you have heard of Christopher Nolan, I'm curious to hear what your ranking would be. Please let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please go down and give it a like, and maybe even subscribe while you're down there. It doesn't hurt. As always, thank you for watching, and keep on being you.